Chapter 2. Metasploit Basics. When you encounter the Metasploit Framework, MSF, for the first time, you might be overwhelmed by its many interfaces, options, utilities, variables, and modules. In this chapter, we'll focus on the basics that will help you make sense of the big picture. We'll review some basic penetration testing terminology and then briefly cover the various user interfaces that Metasploit has to offer. Metasploit itself is free, open-source software, with many contributors in the security community, but two commercial Metasploit versions are also available. When first using Metasploit, it's important not to get hung up on that newest exploit. Instead, focus on how Metasploit functions and what commands you use to make the exploit possible. Terminology. Throughout this book, we'll use various terms that first bear some explanation. The majority of the following basic terms are defined in the context of Metasploit, but they are generally the same throughout the security industry. Exploit. An exploit is the means by which an attacker, or pen tester for that matter, takes advantage of a flaw within a system, an application, or a service. An attacker uses an exploit to attack a system in a way that results in a particular desired outcome that the developer never intended. Common exploits include buffer overflows, web application vulnerabilities, such as SQL injection, and configuration errors. Payload. A payload is code that we want the system to execute and that is to be selected and delivered by the framework. For example, a reverse shell is a payload that creates a connection from the target machine back to the attacker as a Windows command prompt, see Chapter 5, whereas a bind shell is a payload that binds a command prompt to a listening port on the target machine, which the attacker can then connect. A payload could also be something as simple as a few commands to be executed on the target operating system. Shellcode. Shellcode is a set of instructions used as a payload when exploitation occurs. Shellcode is typically written in assembly language. In most cases, a command shell or a meter-preter shell will be provided after the series of instructions have been performed by the target machine, hence the name. Module. A module in the context of this book is a piece of software that can be used by the Metasploit framework. At times, you may require the use of an exploit module, a software component that conducts the attack. Other times, an auxiliary module may be required to perform an action such as scanning or system enumeration. These interchangeable modules are the core of what makes the framework so powerful. Listener. A listener is a component within Metasploit that waits for an incoming connection of some sort. For example, after the target machine has been exploited, it may call the attacking machine over the internet. The listener handles that connection, waiting on the attacking machine to be contacted by the exploited system.